Hello everyone, today welcome to this video on I just want to have, let's say, a way of encouraging. There are two videos on my channel. One, fueling your potentials, and the second one is on the you in you. So I just want you to have a recap of this video, because then what I'm about to discuss today is centered on those things. So why am I making this video? I emphasized on these two videos because I want each and every one of us to learn to speak when it's necessary. You don't speak all the time, but when there is a necessity to speak, please do so. I boarded a flight from the United Kingdom to Republic of Ireland on the 24th of July precisely. And I I traveled to the Republic of Ireland via this flight. On my return, I was to return on the 30th of July. So 30th of July, the flight from the Republic of Ireland to Dublin precisely, really. So the flight from Dublin to the UK. I arrived at the airport more than 2 hours before this flight time, and I went through the security. On passing through the security, there were two things that were scanned to it was scanned as kind of something that should not be taken on the hand luggage. So they were one, my deodorant, which was about 150 mils. So for the UK, because I came from Ireland to UK with that deodorant. I came from Ireland to UK with the deodorant, but trying to travel from I came from UK to Ireland rather with that deodorant, but going from Dublin to the UK, it was the security at the airport said I wasn't going to go with it. That in the UK, in Ireland, it's 100 mils, so you don't exceed 100 mils for hand luggage. So I did not want to. So the options were, so it was that deodorant and my shower gel, a shower gel that is about 200 and something mils. The options I have were to either bin it or to either bin that or to check in those items. I took the option of going to check in the items because, of course, I didn't check in anything at all. So I took the option of going to check in those items. Took that from the security officer, went to the check-in desk. Ryanair is the air. Because why I'm making this video is, please, when you need to speak up, speak up. When you need to speak, speak. Silence is not always the solution all the time. If you need to be silent, be silent. Wisdom is actually being silent when it's necessary and speaking when you need to speak. Because sometimes some things are going to kind of keep causing havoc until there is a stop to it. So I went to the check-in desk, and when I got to the check-in desk, the Ryanair staff there told me to check in those two items that I was going to pay €35. Now, I didn't want to check in my hand luggage. Obviously, the reason behind it is, well, I had some personal things there, that's one. Then the second reason why I didn't want to check in my hand luggage is it was the zip was actually faulty, so I didn't want to get some things missing in there. So I'm better off carrying it and knowing how everything went about. I just told the person at check-in desk that these two items were screened by the security. They were screened at the point of the security. So I just want to check them in. He told me that to check in those two items, I was going to pay €35. I perceive this as a very outrageous sum for just those two items. You understand? At least for the sake of customer services, airline would have just even taken it and checked it in and let me get it at, these things are what you do, courtesy for customer service sake to kind of impress your customer for next time. But what that person told me was that for me to check that item, just those two items in. These two items are less than 2 kg. That's the truth. I'm not even sure the both are up to 1 kg. So for me to check in these two items, that I was going to pay 35 euro. And I saw it as an outrageous sum. I didn't comply by that. So I was actually looking for if I could get a passenger that is flying the same direction as me, and as in ask the passenger if I can just put those two items in the luggage. I have seen that being done. I have done it as well for some passengers, just depending. And the next thing that happened is when the staff came and was like, I'm not supposed to talk to passengers about that. I said, says who, is none of your business. You understand that the decision is on the passengers, what they want. You know, there is no rule saying I can't speak to another passenger, no matter what the discussion is centered on. So the guy was trying to threaten me. I'm going to call the manager. I said, call anyone you choose to call. I'm this kind of person, personality wise, and when I know that what I'm saying is correct, you can't even threaten me out of it. I told him, please call anyone you want to call. You get? I just knew they were trying to make like a scene. They were trying to make me react beyond measures or something like that. But I didn't give them room for those things anyway. It got to the point they called the police. Even when the police came, the police just told me they are trying to prevent you from flying, since you didn't get anyone to check it in. Why not just bin it and go so that you can meet up with your gate? I said, oh, it's true. Actually, at that stage, I couldn't get anyone at all to check in that item. So I resorted to binning it actually. I went through the security again. I been there this time around. I went through the security again, got to the gate. The gate was closed, but the flight was still there. Now, why I'm making this thing is that this flight was there for nearly 25 to 30 minutes. And I was telling the Ryanair staff at the gate that, please, I am for that flight. Can I just go? The flight is still there. The Ryanair staff said no, that the gate has been closed. I said, even if the gate is closed, this flight is still here. This flight has not flown. I would like to say this as a matter of emphasis. I have arrived at the airport and I wasn't the one. So, but the passenger on the flight I flew came quite late. But because the flight was there, these things are what customer services are. These things are what you do and impress your customer to come back to the airline tomorrow. The reason I'm making this video is that sometimes whoever owns Ryanair might not actually know what this staff are doing. You understand? So they are actually causing, will I say, bad business somehow for the person, the owner of the airline. That's the point. They're actually causing kind of bad business for the owner of the airline. They don't actually care if the passengers choose not to fly the airline, because of course it's not their business. So I spoke to the staff. I told the staff, this airline is still here. Please, why not alert the airline that the passenger is that I'm around, so that I can go into the airline. Of course, if the gate is closed, you can't even go through the gate, because if the gate was open, I probably would have gone through anyway. So after much pleading with the staff, the staff I met there refused. I turned just opposite that gate. I saw another Ryanair boarding. I said, okay, let me go to that desk and speak to those staff about it. As I was saying this thing, this was like 20 to 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, this thing, and the flight was still there. So I went to that desk and I was speaking to them, look at this flight, look at the flight I'm supposed to fly. In fact, I was literally there when the flight took off. I was there when the flight took off. So when the flight took off, one of the staff I met there was now saying that you are late. There's nothing that can be done. Go and rebuke and all that. And I told the staff that when I was coming, and it is true, when I was flying in, Ryanair delayed by nearly 1 hour 30 minutes. I didn't complain. There was no explanation given for that. There was no compensation given. Now it's the other way around. I agree that I came to the gate when it was closed, but there are concessions you give as well, so that you impress. That's what customer service is all about, trying to impress your customers. And lo and behold, Ryanair, those staff there maintained until that plane. I literally saw the plane departing, so that's why I know it's between 25 to 30 minutes before that plane departed. And when that plane departed, I was speaking to the staff and telling them, this is not actually a good customer service approach at all, because this flight was still here. Because I have seen a situation where the flights, the air crew were alerted, and the door was opened for a passenger that came very late for that flight. But this time around, no. So what actually upset me when all these things were happening, I mean, I was very emphatic, I was stressing my point. But what actually upset me was when a some as in there's this woman that calls herself the manager, came in, and imagine that, came to the scene and was like, I'm threatening the staff, I'm being aggressive towards the staff. I said, excuse me, what are you just saying? So this person claims to be the manager. The reason I said I'll make this video is these things happen often. You claim you are the manager, so managers are supposed to come and de-escalate situations. Managers are supposed to come and have better approach than other staff are. That's why you actually the manager. That's actually the role of the manager in any establishment at all. So if there are this kind of issues, a manager should come and have a better approach to it. But imagine a manager walking up to me and telling me that I was aggressive, towards staff and all that. And I warned her sternly, you do not say that. If you call yourself, I really doubt if you're the manager. If you're the manager, Ryanair should do something about taking you out. You understand? She probably thought I was one of those she can intimidate, that she's going to call the police, that I'm causing this, I'm causing that. I said, please call the police. You think I'm scared? I'm only scared when I know what I'm doing is wrong. So she ended up calling. Even when the police came, they stood there when I was expressing myself. They didn't stop me until I finished what I was, as in I said what I wanted to say. So it got to the point, I made up my mind I was going to report this case. And I was asking her name. Now, they usually wear ID. Of course, any work at all, even when as a doctor, when I work, I wear ID. So your identity is to make whoever it is to identify you. And then she turned her ID the other way. Do you understand? So not the way the place that carried her identity, because I was asking her name, so she did that, and she was so reluctant, very very uncommon. She was so reluctant to say what her name is. Why are you reluctant? I told you I was going to report the situation. Why are you being reluctant, telling me what your name is? Do you want me to address you inappropriately? I want to name you when I'm making that complaint. And lo and behold, what she actually did was she reluctantly called the name. She said Adriana. So even when I made the report, I said clearly that I'm not sure this is her name, but this was what happened, because she was very reluctant. That's why I don't 100% believe it is her name. It may be her name, in fairness, but it may also not be, because she was so reluctant, and then she covered her name, if you understand what I mean. She turned her ID the other way, so I didn't see her name on there. So why I'm making this video is, at times these people try to, because that's exactly what they do, they try to cover their ass. What she did was, because I already told her that I was going to report the situation, she went to the system and wrote that I should not be rebooked. So the cost to rebook is €100. €100 plus. If probably I didn't go to the desk, I'll probably not know she did that. So because my phone had no internet access at the time, I had to go to the desk to rebook. On getting to the desk, the staff at the desk told me that the manager said I should not be rebooked. And I said something, so I told her, if Ryanair does not act on this, then I will see another incompetence, because I bring up these issues because of some reasons. I'll see another incompetence displayed. A so-called manager should not take actions irrationally. You understand my point? What's your reason for not letting me rebook? And that's exactly what she wrote on the system, that I should not be rebooked, because I had already told her that I was going to report the case. And I was telling the staff there, who is the next person senior to her, if she claims to be the manager? Who can I speak to about this situation? She said there is really nobody at the airport. I'm going to post this video because I have actually put up a report. When I was trying to put up a report, because I had to open an account when I booked the flight, because the system was not letting me book without opening. I don't usually open. I know so many airlines I've flown with, I don't open accounts, but the system was not letting me book that flight without opening an account. So that's why I did open an account, and now I have to go to that account and report this situation. Why am I very emphatic on this? I'm waiting to see the reaction of Ryanair on this particular issue. The point is, your customer service is 0%, and I did say it clearly. Your customer service is 0% if this is what you do. And then the worst aspect of it is even the so-called Adriana or whatever going to the system and saying I should not be rebooked. I didn't react to that because according to what the staff that told me that said, that there is no other person to talk to at the airport. So what I just literally did was I just booked another flight and traveled. But I was very sure this case will not, I will not let it slide. Because if you keep letting this kind of issues slide, these things will keep this thing happening. So if you've had this kind of experiences with airline, the kind of airlines you've had the experiences with, did you have to report? What actions do you think the airline took? Like, I'm very much interested. Please, in knowing, let's have this discussion and know. Please do well to subscribe, like, share, keep sharing. Please, more subscription on this. And until my next video, this is still me, Francisca. Thank you.